In a landscape increasingly dominated by geopolitical tensions and social unrest, the actions of government officials can reverberate far beyond their immediate context. Recent developments surrounding U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio highlight this phenomenon, as his controversial stance on student deportations and international relations has ignited debates not only about immigration policy but also about free speech and civil liberties. Rubio's recent remarks concerning the deportation of foreign students have drawn scrutiny, particularly during his visit to Brussels for NATO discussions. The secretary has been vocal about what he describes as terrorist sympathizers infiltrating U.S. universities. This rhetoric coincides with the ongoing administration's push to revoke visas from individuals accused of engaging in activities deemed harmful to U.S. foreign policy interests. If you lie to us and get a visa and then enter the United States and with that visa participate in that sort of activity, we're gonna take away your visa, Rubio stated, underscoring a zero-tolerance approach to what the administration perceives as disruptive behavior on college campuses. One case that has come to symbolize the broader implications of this policy is that of Rumeysa Ozturk, a graduate student at Tufts University. Ozturk was detained earlier this year, prompting significant public outcry. Critics argue that her only transgression was co-authoring an op-ed that criticized university policies regarding Israel. While Rubio's administration has framed such actions as part of a crackdown on those who disrupt academic environments, many see it as a chilling attack on free speech. Her arrest doesn't really make sense because she wasn't a figure on campus, noted Najiba Akbar, a former Muslim chaplain at Tufts, emphasizing the lack of a substantive basis for her detention. Contrasting Ozturk's situation with that of Mamadou Tall, a British Gambian student at Cornell University who has openly endorsed violent resistance, raises questions about the consistency and fairness of the administration's criteria for deportation. Tall has engaged in disruptive protests but has thus far avoided detention. Rubio's comments suggest a reliance on subjective interpretations of what constitutes a threat to U.S. interests, with broad legal provisions allowing for considerable discretion. The legal framework underpinning these deportations is rooted in a statute that grants the Secretary of State extensive power to determine which foreign nationals pose a threat based on their presence or activities. Critics, including former federal Judge Marianne Trump Berry, have condemned this law as unconstitutionally vague, warning that it can be wielded to suppress dissent and silence unpopular opinions. In an era where academic freedom and the exchange of ideas are increasingly under siege, such broad interpretations can have a chilling effect on students and scholars alike. As the Biden administration continues to navigate complex international relationships and domestic pressures, the implications of Rubio's policies extend beyond individual cases. These actions signal a potential shift in U.S. immigration policy that could redefine how foreign nationals interact with American educational institutions. For many, this marks a troubling trend towards prioritizing national security over civil liberties, raising concerns about the future of free speech on campuses across the nation. Looking ahead, the developments surrounding Rubio's policies and the broader context of U.S. immigration reform will be crucial to monitor. The balance between ensuring national security and upholding civil rights remains a contentious issue, one that will undoubtedly shape the discourse surrounding immigration and education in the coming years. As debates continue and public sentiment evolves, the path forward may require a careful reassessment of how the U.S. engages with both domestic and international communities. In an era marked by political upheaval and rapid changes in defense policy, the appointment of Pete Hegseth as U.S. Secretary of Defense has ignited both hope and controversy. Confirmed by the narrowest margin in modern history, 51-50, Hegseth's journey from Fox News host to defense leader has been tumultuous, with allegations of personal misconduct shadowing his tenure. However, his commitment to reforming the Pentagon and revitalizing military standards appears to resonate with the current administration's ethos of disruption and change. Yet recent events have put Hegseth's credibility and competence under scrutiny. A shocking incident involving the sharing of sensitive military information on an unclassified messaging app has raised alarms not only within the Pentagon but also among the American public. On March 15, Hegseth inadvertently disclosed operational details about an impending airstrike on Houthi militia targets in Yemen to a group chat that included several top Trump administration officials and Jeffrey Goldberg, editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. This breach of operational security has led to uncomfortable questions about Hegseth's judgment and ability to manage national security effectively. Operational security, or OPSEC, is critical in military operations designed to protect sensitive information and ensure the safety of troops. Hegseth's initial assertion that he had done nothing wrong stands in stark contrast to the guidelines established by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, which categorically states that any indication of a planned attack is to be treated as classified. Critics argue that Hegseth's actions send a troubling message to service members worldwide who face severe penalties for similar infractions. Our standards will be high, uncompromising, and clear. Hegseth had previously stated in a message to troops, but his recent conduct suggests a disconcerting double standard. Hegseth's defense of his actions has not only been met with skepticism but has also exposed deeper issues regarding his capability to navigate a national security crisis. Military officials have expressed concern that his behavior reflects a lack of maturity rather than the leadership expected from a Secretary of Defense. Observers note that predecessors like Jim Mattis and Lloyd Austin, who were seasoned military leaders, would not have engaged in such reckless communications. Austin, for instance, was criticized for his transparency regarding personal health issues, demonstrating a fundamental accountability that Hegseth has yet to embrace. In the wake of this incident, the Pentagon is grappling with additional controversies surrounding Hegseth's leadership style. Reports have surfaced regarding potential violations of nepotism laws due to the involvement of his brother Phil Hegseth, a liaison officer at the Department of Homeland Security, in official business trips. Furthermore, Hegseth's wife attended sensitive meetings with European military leaders, raising ethical questions about the appropriateness of family involvement in high-stakes negotiations. Despite these challenges, Hegseth continues to push forward. On March 30, he announced an upgrade of U.S. Forces Japan to a Joint Force Command during a press conference in Tokyo, emphasizing the need for robust military readiness in the Indo-Pacific region amid growing tensions with China. His commitment to strengthening alliances and enhancing operational capabilities reflects a proactive approach to defense policy. As Hegseth navigates the complexities of his role, the implications of his actions will undoubtedly shape the future of military leadership in the U.S. The unfolding narrative raises critical questions about accountability, ethics, and the fundamental nature of leadership in a time of conflict. The stakes are high. And as the Pentagon moves forward, it remains to be seen whether Hegseth can restore trust among the ranks of the military he professes to lead. The coming months will be pivotal, revealing whether he can transform the current turbulence into a foundation for stronger military governance, or if his tenure will be characterized by ongoing controversy and loss of credibility. In a significant turn of events within the realm of public health, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the controversial Secretary of Health and Human Services, is facing increasing scrutiny from analysts and public health experts. His leadership has come under fire following the resignation of Peter Marks, the head of the Food and Drug Administration's Biologics Division, a move that has raised alarms about the future of vaccine policy in the United States. Kennedy, known for his long-standing anti-vaccine stance, has been criticized by analysts at Cantor Fitzgerald, a prominent financial services firm previously led by Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. In an urgent memo to clients, analysts Josh Schimmer and Eric Schmidt expressed their concerns, stating, "We call on the administration to re-evaluate RFK Jr.'s role at HHS. Pushing out one of the most trusted leaders of the FDA to promote an anti-science agenda is a step too far for us." They emphasized the need for competent leadership in an agency tasked with safeguarding public health. This criticism comes as Kennedy has reportedly taken steps that public health experts believe could hinder routine immunizations across the country. His dismissal of the importance of the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, coupled with his endorsement of unproven remedies during a measles outbreak, has alarmed many within the health sector. The analyst's note added, "An amateur scientist who doesn't appreciate the need for difficult public health policy decisions is not the right person for the job." The fallout from Mark's resignation was immediate, with shares of vaccine manufacturers like Moderna and Novavax plummeting significantly. Moderna and Novavax each dropped over 8%, while the broader SPDR S&P Biotech ETF experienced a nearly 4% decline. Analysts at BMO Capital Markets warned that Mark's departure could usher in a new wave of uncertainty at FDA, indicating potential chaos in the biopharma and biotech sectors as they grapple with Kennedy's controversial policies. Marks, who has been a staunch advocate for vaccines and regulatory flexibility, resigned after expressing that the new leadership under Kennedy was not aligned with his commitment to truth and transparency in public health. In his resignation letter, Marks lamented the environment fostered by Kennedy, stating, "It has become clear that truth and transparency are not desired by the Secretary, but rather he wishes subservient confirmation of his misinformation and lies." As the Senate Finance Committee prepares to vote on Kennedy's confirmation, the tension surrounding his nomination continues to mount. The committee voted along party lines to advance Kennedy's nomination to the full Senate, despite concerns from some members, including Louisiana Republican Bill Cassidy, who expressed reservations but ultimately supported the motion. The implications of Kennedy's leadership extend beyond the immediate concerns of vaccine policy. Analysts warned that a shift towards anti-vaccine rhetoric could have dire consequences for public health, particularly in light of recent vaccination rates that have already been declining in some regions. "We already had a needless measles death canter," analysts stated, highlighting the potential dangers of vaccine misinformation. As the situation unfolds, the public and health experts alike are left wondering about the future of public health policy in the U.S. With Kennedy at the helm of HHS, the path forward may be fraught with challenges that could undermine decades of progress in immunization and disease prevention. The ongoing debate highlights the critical importance of science-based leadership in safeguarding public health as the nation grapples with the consequences of misinformation and skepticism surrounding vaccines. The coming weeks will be pivotal in determining the direction of health policy under Kennedy's leadership and the potential ramifications for the American public's health landscape. In a significant and alarming development in the realm of violent crime, Attorney General Pam Bondi has instructed federal prosecutors to pursue the death penalty for Luigi Mangione, a 26-year-old man accused of the shocking murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The decision, announced on April 1, 2025, follows a series of escalating events that have captivated public attention and sparked a national debate about violent crime and justice. Brian Thompson, a prominent figure in the health insurance industry and a father of two, was fatally shot on December 4, 2024, as he walked outside the New York Hilton Midtown, where he was attending a corporate investors meeting. The assailant, later identified as Mangione, fled the crime scene on a bicycle, leading to a massive manhunt that lasted several days. He was apprehended on December 9 in Altoona, Pennsylvania, where law enforcement found him with a firearm matching the one used in the shooting and a notebook filled with disturbing entries that expressed hostility toward the health insurance sector. In a statement regarding the decision to seek the death penalty, Bondi characterized Thompson's murder as a premeditated, cold-blooded assassination that shocked America. She emphasized that this action aligns with President Trump's broader agenda to combat violent crime and restore safety across the nation. "After careful consideration, I have directed federal prosecutors to seek the death penalty in this case," Bondi said, highlighting the severity of the crime and its impact on the community. Mangione faces multiple charges, including federal charges of murder through the use of a firearm, which makes him eligible for capital punishment. State prosecutors have also charged him with first-degree murder motivated by terrorism, reflecting the belief that his actions were not only personal but also ideologically driven. Despite the gravity of the accusations, Mangione has pleaded not guilty to all charges. and his legal representation has yet to comment on Bondi's latest announcement. The case has garnered attention not only due to the high-profile nature of the victim but also because it touches upon broader issues regarding the application of the death penalty in the United States. Under previous administration policies, federal executions had been halted, but the current administration is pushing to reinstate capital punishment in certain cases, which further complicates the legal landscape. Thompson's murder has rattled the business community, particularly in the health insurance sector, where concerns about safety and the potential for violence against executives have been heightened. The chilling details of Mangione's motivations, as outlined in his notebook, suggest a calculated plan that raises questions about the intersection of mental health, societal pressures, and violence. As the legal proceedings unfold, the public will be closely watching how the case develops, especially with the parallel tracks of state and federal prosecutions. Mangione is scheduled to appear in federal court on April 18, where the implications of this case will continue to evolve. With the spotlight on the death penalty and its role in the justice system, this tragic incident serves as a poignant reminder of the complexities surrounding crime and punishment in modern America. As the nation grapples with the ramifications of this case, it remains to be seen how it will influence future policies regarding violent crime and the death penalty, as well as the broader discourse on public safety and justice in the United States. In a bold move that could reshape the landscape of American trade, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has publicly declared that former President Donald Trump will continue to advocate for a tariff-heavy economic strategy, positioning it as a means of ensuring fair trade for American workers. This declaration comes at a pivotal moment as the Trump administration prepares to implement significant new tariffs that are expected to raise prices on a variety of consumer goods, including automobiles, electronics, and pharmaceuticals. During a recent appearance on NBC's Meet the Press, Trump defended the tariffs, asserting, "I couldn't care less if they raise prices because people are going to start buying American-made cars." His comments reflect a broader strategy that seeks to pivot public sentiment away from the allure of cheap imported goods, framing the discussion around national pride and economic justice. Access to cheap goods is not the essence of the American dream, Bessent emphasized in a speech at the Economic Club of New York, challenging the notion that affordability should dictate consumer choices. The Trump administration's approach marks a significant departure from traditional Republican free trade principles, provoking a renewed debate within the party. Former Vice President Mike Pence responded to Bessent's remarks on social media, arguing that tariffs might temporarily pressure countries like China but ultimately increase costs for American consumers. Free trade lowers the costs of goods and improves the quality of life for every American, Pence stated, highlighting the tension between protectionist policies and the party's historical advocacy for open markets. As the implementation of a 25% tariff on foreign automobiles looms, many analysts are questioning the sustainability of this strategy. The unpredictability of the current tariff regime, coupled with the ongoing inflationary pressures faced by consumers, has led to growing apprehension among economists about the long-term impacts of such policies. Stephen Haber, a senior fellow at the Stanford Institute for Economic Policy Research, described the situation succinctly: "Reality tends to trump ideology for most people." He cautioned that Americans may not be willing to accept higher prices as a trade-off for nationalistic economic policies. Moreover, the timing of these tariffs poses significant risks, especially considering Trump's recent electoral victory, which was largely fueled by voter frustration over rising prices during the Biden administration. Barry P. Bosworth, who previously led the Carter administration's Wage Price Council, noted that Trump's administration could misjudge public sentiment if it fails to recognize the economic context that contributed to his electoral success. Despite the potential backlash, supporters of Trump's trade policies argue that the long-term benefits of revitalizing American manufacturing and protecting domestic jobs could outweigh the immediate costs. Tomas J. Philipson, who served as acting chair of the Council of Economic Advisers during Trump's first term, posited that tax cuts and deregulation associated with the tariff strategy could ultimately boost the economy, providing a counterbalance to the increased prices resulting from tariffs. On Capitol Hill, Besson's scheduled meetings with House Republicans indicate the administration's urgency to communicate the rationale behind the tariffs and address lawmakers' concerns. Representative Lisa McClain, chair of the House GOP conference, emphasized the need for transparency and direct communication with the administration, stating, "We want to hear it from the horse's mouth." Lawmakers are expected to question Besson about the anticipated impacts of the tariffs on various sectors, particularly agriculture, which has historically been vulnerable to trade disputes. As Trump prepares to unveil further tariff measures, the political and economic ramifications remain uncertain. The administration's ability to persuade consumers to embrace higher prices as a patriotic choice will be pivotal in determining the success of its trade agenda. Should the public push back against these policies, the administration may face significant challenges in advancing its broader economic objectives. As the situation develops, all eyes will be on how the administration navigates the complexities of domestic and international trade relations, as well as the potential for a backlash from consumers who may prioritize affordability over nationalism. The coming weeks will be crucial in shaping the narrative around tariffs and their perceived value in the American economic landscape. In a time when the U.S. technology sector is grappling with the implications of government policies and leadership changes, recent developments surrounding Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. have captured significant attention. As the Biden administration faces mounting scrutiny over its handling of public health and economic policies, the stakes are higher than ever. Howard Lutnick, who recently stepped into the role of Commerce Secretary, is reportedly under pressure following a controversial tariff plan that President Donald Trump is set to unveil. This initiative, branded as Liberation Day, aims to roll back what the administration deems unfair trade practices. However, insiders from within Trump's circle suggest that Lutnick, a key advocate for the tariffs, might become the scapegoat if the economic fallout does not meet expectations. Trump world is ready to play the blame game if things go poorly, a source disclosed, indicating that Lutnick could face significant repercussions if the plan falters. The impending announcement, expected during a press conference in the Rose Garden, has already stirred speculation among investors. Some analysts, such as Jose Torres, a senior economist at Interactive Brokers, foresee a potential snapback rally in risk assets, while others express concern that the economy may not withstand the stress of such significant tariffs. The increasing financial pressures on households could exacerbate these risks, underscoring the fragile state of the economy as it navigates through these policies. Meanwhile, the appointment of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as Secretary of Health and Human Services has ignited fierce backlash, particularly from public health experts. Analysts at Cantor Fitzgerald have voiced strong objections, labeling Kennedy as unqualified to lead an agency whose primary mission is to safeguard American health. Following the resignation of Peter Marks, head of the FDA's Biologics Division, in protest of Kennedy's anti-vaccine stance, the agency's credibility has come under scrutiny. Pushing out one of the most trusted leaders of the FDA to promote an anti-science agenda is a step too far, wrote Cantor analysts in a note to clients. This departure has had immediate repercussions on the stock market, with shares of vaccine manufacturers like Moderna and Novavax experiencing significant declines. The situation presents a conundrum for the Biden administration as it attempts to balance public health priorities with the growing skepticism surrounding vaccine efficacy. Analysts are urging the government to reconsider Kennedy's position, pointing to the potential public health risks posed by his promotion of unverified remedies and misinformation surrounding vaccines. How many more people need to die from this absurdity? The analysts question, emphasizing the urgent need for scientifically sound leadership at the HHS. As these two narratives unfold, they highlight the broader implications of leadership decisions on both public health and economic stability in the U.S. The administration's ability to navigate these challenges will be critical not only for its political credibility but also for the well-being of the American populace. Looking ahead, the outcomes of the proposed tariffs and the ongoing public health discourse surrounding vaccinations will likely set the tone for future policies and the administration's overall effectiveness. The coming weeks will be pivotal as the administration faces mounting pressure to deliver on its promises while managing the fallout from these controversial appointments and policies.